Welcome back to the High School B'Kiyas program. Today we're doing Yud Tet Amud Aleph. Today we're going to cover 4 main points. The Mishnah introduces us to the Isser of writing on Chol Moed, and it's mutter for a loss, or if someone has no parnasa. Then the Gemara and the Mishnah discuss what about writing things of mitzvah like svarim, tefillin, mezuzahs, big machlokas, and we're going to get into that. And the opinions range from it's totally forbidden to it's permitted only for yourself, to the opposite extreme that it's always permitted as long as it's just doing for your own parnasa. And then we discuss what about spinning strings for tcheles. Again, a machlokas. Either it's going to be usser unless you just do it with your hand, or it's even permitted in a abnormal way, or even in a normal, regular, professional way. And the last discussion is going to be about regel breaking shiva and shlosh. The Mishnah says like this: Ein kozen charachov v'moed v'eino mamino. It's forbidden to write down loan documents on Chol Moed. You can't write anything on Chol Moed. But if you don't trust the person that he's going to pay back, then it's permitted to write down because you're preventing a loss. Or if the person doesn't have anything to eat, he's also allowed to write it down because that's dire need for parnasa. It's permitted to write, according to the Tanakama, anything, even for mitzvahs, like svarim, tefillin, or mezuzahs. A person not allowed to correct a letter in a Sefer Torah that's not going to be used on the Moed, even if it's the most critical, important Sefer in the world, the one that was written by Ezra, was kept in the Beis HaMikdash, and was used to check the rest of the Sefarim in the world. You can't correct one letter in there on Chol Moed because it can wait till afterwards. Rabbi Yehuda says you're allowed to write tefillin and mezuzah for yourself specifically. You're also allowed to spin the strings of the tzitzis, but you only can do it on your lap with your hand. You can't do anything more professional than that. Here goes the Gemara. A person is allowed to write tefillin and mezuzah for himself. A person is also allowed to spin the strings of tchelet for his own tzitzis. That's the first opinion. He can do it for himself. All Reimer's opinion is that you can always do it for yourself in not professional manner. However, you can do it for other people as a favor. You can't do it to make money. Rabbi Yehuda says you can use a loophole to do it for yourself, sell it to other people, and then rewrite it for yourself. This way, you are doing it for other people, you're making money off of it. However, every time you're doing something, activity like writing, you're only doing it for yourself. Rabbi Yossi says we can permit it if you need it for your parnasa. It doesn't mean that the person doesn't have anything more to eat, Rajas, but it means for his parnasa. Ori lay, it was a ruling that was stated. Rav le Rav Chanano. Rav gave to Rav Chanano the following ruling. But Amri le, some say Rav Chanano le Rav Chanano. The following was stated by Rav Chanano, given to Rav Chanano. The what? Halacha kodem mocher parnasa. We follow Rabbi Yossi that's permitted to write tefillin mezuzah svarim for parnasa. Tove al yerechot tchil. A person will spin the tzitzis strings. It says on his lap. The first opinion is a person can only do it on his lap, spinning the tchelet strings, but can't even use a rack to hold down the string to make it easier to spin the strings. Some say you can even use a rack, you can't use a spindle to make it totally normal. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mishvo be'even abal lo b'flach. Rabbi Yehuda, quoting Rabbi Lezer, says you can even use a rack, but you can't use a spindle. And Chachamim are one step more lenient than this version Rabbi Lezer, and they say you can even use a spindle. Rabbi Yehuda, we have a statement going back to Rabbi Yochanan that's quoted as saying halacha bein you can use a rack or a spindle. The halacha quoted because that is used for your parnasa. So the last statement of Rabbi Yochanan is paskening that you could use the tchelet like the Chachamim. You could spin the strings, whether it's with a rack or a spindle, and we follow Rabbi Yossi by the discussion of writing stuff for mitzvah for a parnasa. Here's the mission about regel breaking shiva and shlosh. If a person has a relative that passes away before 3 days before the regel, comes to the regel and breaks the shiva. It's lav dafka, it has to be 3 days. It has to be that they actually did the kvura before the yontiv. If they didn't do the kvura, then the avelos didn't begin, then the yontiv will not break the shiva. However, as long as it began, then comes the regal and breaks away the shiva. So there's no more shiva to worry about. However, there's still the shloshim. And they can't cut their hair and do laundry during shloshim. However, Shmona, if the relative passed away 8 days before, so shiva has already concluded, now comes the regal, and on the 8th day, now the only thing left is shloshim, comes the regal and knocks off the shloshim. And from this we understand the following very important thing. Shabbos Olev Einu second. Shabbos counts as one of the days of Shiva. Every single time a person has Shiva, Shabbos included. It counts as one of the days, but Einu second, it doesn't break it up. However, Ragalim, one of the holidays of the Yom Tovim, Mafsikim Einu Olim. They break the Shiva, or break Shloshim as we discussed, but Einu Olim, they don't count. So since Rashi, what it means it doesn't count, is that if they didn't start the Shiva before, because the person wasn't buried until the middle of the regal, they wouldn't have to start a complete Shiva after the regal. These days of Yom Tov do not count towards the Shiva. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Rabbi Eliezer says Shavuos is one day. It's not considered a full regal to break Shiva. It's just like a Shabbos. It doesn't break the Shiva or Shloshim. And the reason it has to do with the Beis HaMikdash is because during the Beis HaMikdash, Shavuos was a more important holiday that had the significance of a week, because a person could bring his korbanos that he would bring, he could bring those for up to a week of Tashlum, and he could bring those up to a week after. However, after the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed, there's only significance of Shavuos of one day. And therefore, it doesn't have the power of regular regal, and therefore it doesn't break Shiva, Shloshim. Ragam Lil says, you should know that Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, even though they're not one of the 3 regular regalim, they also are Yom Tov and they could break Shiva. They disagree on both points. They say Shavuos is definitely one of the regalim and that breaks Shiva and Shloshim. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur do not have the status of regal, and they don't break Shiva and Shloshim. The disputes presumably seem to relate to whether there's a mitzvah of simcha and what significance that carries to breaking Shiva and Shloshim. Amarav, Gzered Bitlu, Yamim Lo Bitlu. Rav says there's really a qualification about when we say that the regal comes to break Shloshim. It breaks the Gzeira, breaks the rules. However, Yamim Lo Bitlu is still some concept of Shloshim. We're going to explain exactly what that means. Gezerah Bitlu, it broke the idea of Shloshim. Yamim Lo Bitlu, we still have the days of Shloshim to be counted. Rosh Hashanah says no, Shiva and Shloshim can be broken by the regal completely. And there's nothing to worry about Shloshim after the regal if it was broken. My time Yamim Lo Bitlu. What exactly does that mean for Rav that you still count the days of Shloshim? If the regal came and broke Shloshim, it's broken. What it means is this. It means it permits you to cut your hair on Erev Regal right before the regal because Shloshim was broken by the regal, and you're supposed to cut your hair then. And if you didn't, then you missed the chance. And then you have to keep going with the Shloshim rules afterwards. The Tanya and the Bryce that teaches the same idea. If a person has a relative that passed away 3 days before the Yom Tov, the Yom Tov comes and wipes out the Shiva. Shmona Yom, if it was 8 days, Shloshim wipes out the Shloshim, Megalech Erev Haregel, and he's supposed to cut his hair right then before the regal. Im Lo Gilach Erev Haregel, if he didn't take that opportunity, also Galech Achar Regel. And we'll discuss Avashal in the next shir. The takeaways for today, start with the words, is the word Tanur Rabbanim. For the Amud Pace, the rabbis taught, and our takeaways to remember are that it's generally also to write stuff on Chol Moed unless it's to avoid a loss. Svarim and Tefillin and mezuzahs are big machlokes if you can read in not at all, can read it for yourself, or can be written even for others to make a parnasa. Machlokes about spinning tchelas strings could be done on your hand, just with your hands, a rock or a spindle. And Yom Tov break Shiva and Shloshim if before the regal these began. And there's a machlokas if Shavuos, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur have the regular status of a regal.